Dr. Vaid, thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. I'm sure most of you know Dr. Neelam Vaid, but for those of you who do not, she is a very senior ENT surgeon in the city of Pune and nationally acclaimed for the work that she does, not just as an ENT surgeon, but very specifically also in the field of cochlear implants. So we have persuaded her to tell us a little bit about what she does in this field this afternoon. So Dr. Vaid, tell us, what is the whole Big Ears program about which you head in the hospital?
Thanks, Shireen, for the invitation to be here and to share a bit of my experiences with not just Big Ears but with the hospital per se. Big Ears was started here in the year 2006, and the whole focus of Big Ears was that we wanted to offer services related to both communication and hearing impairment in one place. And there was no better place than KM to choose this. You had the existing infrastructure of TBH already there in the ground floor, and all that we did was we added on these extra services. Big Ears, when it started, the focus was mainly hearing impairment, but as we've grown along over the years, we are now looking also at addressing a lot of communication needs that most children have. We've also now extended these services a lot into the adults and their rehabilitation. Cochlear implants came in a little later, and that's because they are really a device that's needed in not only children but anyone who has a hearing impairment that does not get benefit with a hearing aid. And again, KM was very good from that point of view because a lot of the people who come in and who need these devices are people from the not so affording cadre of society. And KM had this fantastic social worker department that kind of just jumped onto this and helped us out. And today it's with pride that we say that any patient who comes to this hospital who needs this device always gets the finance and the other aid that's associated with this. We have about a 95% cohort now that is funded, and only about a 5% that has to self-pay for themselves. The other good thing is that we've done now more than about 550 implants here, and most of these children now are attending mainstream education. So it's been a slow and steady journey. We're not looking here at doing great numbers, but I think the real focus of Big Ears has been outcome. So we're not interested in doing great numbers, but we are more focused on the fact that all these people that we help should in some way become productive members of society.
So just to go into the technicalities a little bit, does this mean that these are children who are hearing impaired from birth? Can it be people who develop some kind of hearing impairment? And also, how does it work if you're implanting something? What is the difference, maybe say, between just a hearing aid and a cochlear implant? And also, if it's something that's implanted and you do it with children, how does it grow? Is this something they need forever, or how does it work?
Fantastic question. So, firstly, when you come to candidacy as to who really needs a cochlear implant, there's nothing about children or adults. Anyone who has a hearing impairment that is not getting benefit with a hearing aid is a candidate. By and large, in our society, given the social structure and the social thinking that we have, yes, we implant children more. And that's because even though we do feel a lot of the geriatric population would get benefit with this, and if we look at the statistics that comes from the developed world, it's mainly geriatric there, whereas in our country it's mainly pediatric. And the reason is because the way we grow up as a society, we believe that we would rather leave the money that we have for our children than invest in ourselves. So that's one of the reasons why I feel that the geriatric do not come in for this fantastic device, even though they would get a lot of benefit for it. Coming to the next question, yes, there are two parts to it. There is a surgery involved here, which is very unlike a hearing aid where there is absolutely no surgery. So that is another something which people would kind of take a step back from. As to its life, the company tells you it's their lifelong, but electronics being electronics, they can't give you a lifelong guarantee, so they do give you a 10-year warranty for the internal. And if anything happens within the 10 years, the company kind of takes care of it. But yes, if I'm implanting a child, I am telling the family that anything that I implant at the age of 2 years is not going to last inside for 80 years. So you're looking at maybe two more surgeries in that child's life.
And I mean, from everything that you've said, it seems to be, I mean, it would obviously be something that gives you and the team, not just the family, a lot of satisfaction and fulfillment. Um, Also, you mentioned that you are looking at sort of hearing and communication as a whole. So, in addition to just hearing impairment, are there other things that Big Ears also looks at in terms of, a holistic hearing and communication umbrella, speech therapy, etc.? And what are all the sort of allied things that you need to look at? I mean, it's not just a surgery and something that's implanted and then you say goodbye. There's a follow up. I know you go through a very long, tedious process. So, what does that really entail?
So cochlear implants today actually is one of the best examples of teamwork in medicine. The surgeon's role is just putting in the implant. It starts right from when the child walks in and you start assessing it. At that time, the assessment itself consists of the involvement of a pediatrician, a developmental pediatrician, because you need to know what's the mental growth of the child, the hearing or the audiologist who are going to assess the hearing, someone who's going to assess what's the speech already developed at, and then the surgeon. So these are just some of the professionals that will be involved before the implantation. After the implantation, the work mainly is again all these professionals together. And let me not sort of undermine the role of the radiologist, because that person is the one who tells us can we go in, can we not go in for the implantation. After the implantation, of course, whatever Big Ears does is fine. We have to involve the pediatricians, the developmental pediatricians, the child psychologists, because a lot of these children and their parents have a lot of issues with rage, anger. Some of them have associated learning disabilities. So it's not just hearing and talking, it's addressing the child as a whole. Because as I said at the outset, the idea is that you want this child to go out into mainstream, which means the child has to also be socially communicative. The challenge that we face now is it's okay for the first 2 or 3 years because the parents are bringing the children here and you have the whole team here. The problem that happens is when they get into mainstream schools, and that's the biggest hurdle that we are facing. It starts from getting these children admissions. Even though we say all inclusive and these children cannot be denied admission, it's still a challenge every year when I have to fight with principals and threaten them that give the child an admission. And the schools don't have the infrastructure. These children are put into a class where there will be about 40 to 60 children. There's a lot of ambient noise, and even with the best of the hearing devices, that's a challenge. So the challenge that I think today we are facing is we're giving them the best devices that are available in the world, but ongoing, we are not equipped to deal with them. And that is something that worries me, because I have children who will soon need higher grade education, they're going to need university education, and we are not there. We're not there for that.
So that was actually going to be my last question to you, which is, how do you think we as a community of healthcare workers and people who want to be able to provide this, how do we work with society out there, educators, etc., to increase awareness about this, not just to bring more people in and make CI something that's accessible to people, but how to deal with going forward so that you've given the child the best possible opportunity, and then how does its environment work to best integrate her or him?
I think awareness is what we are all working at, and telling more teachers out there that it's not just about the marks that a kid gets, or it's not just about academics, it's about making this child communicate with people, and that's something where you've got to really reach out to teachers, to educators, and that's a challenge. I mean, we try every year to do a teachers workshop. Somehow it's not going there. So I think we've got to work a lot more with the education system to see that we integrate this. As a society, and I feel sad when I say this, but we are not a disability friendly society. We shun them, we make them social outcasts. And I think just by repeatedly talking to people and telling them, look, these guys have as much a right as our kids have, is what we've got to keep working on. And it's never enough. It's never enough. I think we can come in time and time again and talking and making them aware about this. But it's all about educating people, educating children, because that's the worst thing. You can educate an adult, but when this child goes into school, the other children around can be very cruel.
Yeah.
So I think we've got to work with schools. Schools is where the problem is happening.
So well, you've created such an amazing department, and it really is. I think as speaking from the end of the hospital, really, and the impact that we see that it has on children, on families, on communities. I think that really is something that should be lauded, and it's really a tremendous job that the entire team does. And maybe this is the next step that we can look towards making, is that actually working with the team to put more awareness about this out there. So we look forward to doing that with you. Thank you.